What's going on, guys? Kivox here, and welcome to a new Wandsday. 12 wands today. We got 12 wands. So I'm gonna try to make each of them quick so that we're, the video not too long. I'll try to give you guys a couple of little tips on some of them, some things I've learned, and then they'll be going up on the shop. If you guys want to pick one of these up, they'll be up on the shop. If they are not on the shop anymore, that means that they already sold out. So each of these does come with a little wand display that you could put the wand on and put on a shelf somewhere. So yeah, if you're watching this on Patreon, remember that you guys get first dibs on the wand, so you're seeing this video before everybody else is. So if you do want one of these, please let me know down below, and then we can start conversation about picking one of these up for yourself. And it's first come, first serve for patrons, and everybody else comes after patrons. So if you're watching this on just regular YouTube, then they should already be up on the shop. If they're not all up there, either they're sold or some of them will be coming out a little bit later. Depending on how busy I am, sometimes they all come out together, sometimes they take a couple days. All these ones that I'm going to show you today, none of them are crazy, really crazy, different, weird stuff with some weird colored woods. All of these are going to be more, not traditional, but a little bit more tame when it comes to the designs. I tried to keep them all kind of in the same genre. I know it's kind of weird to describe, but you'll see at the end. I'll show all of them to you guys together. So this one right here is it's a pretty simple design. It was mostly done on a lathe and then taken off and done all the little details on all the dots. I like to call this like a golf ball design. Some people, I know that there's that fear of like things that have holes in them or whatever. A lot of people don't like these. They'll be like, oh, I forgot what the term is called. But some people hate these, these ones that are like this. I always feel like it adds just like that nice texture. There's also a little bit of burning on there. So one way that you can do this is you can burn it first and then go in and try to do the holes. What I did was I did the holes first and I burned it, because then as long as you lightly burn it, it won't actually burn inside the holes. It'll just burn the outside, and then you have these nice little light colored spots, which look pretty cool. And then we put a little spike at the end here, and I have another one that has a somewhat similar feel to this one, and that's the next one. I'll show you guys that one next. Here it is. So this one has that same feel where it has this kind of like this piece right here, where it has a similar shape and then the pointy end. This one is a little bit more, it reminds me of Aladdin and the Sultan's Castle. I burned this, and I really I kind of went heavy with the burning on here because I wanted to get the grain to pop a little bit, and I wanted just the whole thing to look black. I didn't want like any faded parts like this. So that's why it's like very black here, but you can still see the grain on there. I think that came out pretty nice. And like I said, this one was, for the most part, also done on the lathe and then taken off, and then the details were put on there. I usually don't do the blade on the lathe. I'll do that off. I just like how it looks better, a little bit more natural. A couple of little imperfections in it always makes it, I don't know, just pop, makes it feel a little bit better. Both of these are not pommel heavies, but I feel like they're more lighter style wands, and you would hold them more towards the pommel as opposed to a lot of the other wands that you would hold like this. You can hold this, traditional style, or you can hold it like this if you want more of a like pointy thing. That's kind of like how I would probably hold it. So yeah, but these like I said are similar in some ways, but also different. I love how this kind of just flows. It almost reminds me of like a beam saber, if you know what that is from Gundam. And then we have this walnut one, which I really tried to do a lot of these like facety spirals. So this actually is a spiral. It does go all the way around, except instead of making it nice and smooth and just clean looking, I wanted to make it look all jaggedy and angular and weird looking. And this is what I got. This is how it came out. This is probably one of the shorter ones that I have today, but it's still a nice sized wand, and this is one of the ones you would hold more traditionally like this, as opposed to more towards the end, right? But I mean, when it comes to holding wands, it's always up to you guys. So, you know, no big deal. As you can see here as well, we have a nice straight blade, right? And then with this weird little dip here, and then you can see it goes around all the way around here. It kind of almost separates, it's basically where the guard would be, and it almost separates the handle and the blade, but it definitely makes it look a little weird. And if you can see here, the wand itself kind of does like it goes straight, but then it kind of goes up and then down and up a little bit again, and then straightens back out. I don't know if you can tell, but right here is basically like that little twisty part. I just tried to make it look as like kind of as messy as possible, but with some control, so that it didn't look like a mistake, basically. And I think it came out pretty cool. I think this one's definitely just a nice simple walnut dark design. I don't have a lot of walnut, so I don't make a lot of walnut wands, but this dark walnut is really nice, and it just pops. I also I did a little bit of burning on it just to make these ends here just a little bit darker right around the edges. Remember, I think I've said this several times, is if you're using a torch or any sort of heat on it, the thinner the wood is, the sooner it's gonna burn. So if you have a big flat piece of wood, it's gonna absorb the heat a little bit more than the edge. So let's say this is a piece of wood and you start burning it here, and then you get to the edge with the fire. What's gonna happen is this edge is gonna char a lot faster than here if you're moving at the same speed, because there's less wood there. So therefore it heats up a lot faster, and that's why we get the edges burned whenever we add heat to a design like this, as opposed to the whole thing burning equally, you know. So if you're trying to burn something, keep that in mind. All right, so the next two, I would say, are the only two that are the non-traditional style wands. So we'll start off with this little guy right here. So you can see this one has this nice little weird bend in it. It basically just goes down, up, just kind of like a nice little smooth wave. And then you can see here, we got this, I tried to make this look like it was the outer bark and then the inner bark. I guess not bark, but the inner part of the tree, and then the bark. And then we also cut out the inside here, and then there's a little bit of some gold paint in there to just make it a little weird, you know. Also, Newt's wand has the mother, it's supposed to be mother of pearl, but the real wand, the physical prop, is it's just like a silver paint in there. And this one I figured I'd go with gold. I thought it would go well with the nature of the actual color of the wand. So all these grooves are cut out with a Dremel, and then obviously we put a little bit of black paint in there with there's actually a little bit of gold and black mixed in, just to kind of make it less dark, less just black. And then obviously the inner bark here is painted black. I thought the black and the gold would contrast well. That was the idea behind that. It's definitely a non-traditional wand, and it has this, just so you know, it has this natural little crack right here. If you guys can see that, that's just a part of the wood, which is really weird. And I think when I put the finish on it, that crack like absorbed it, but it's not broken, which I thought was really weird. But yeah, this wood has some like little nooks and crannies. There's a little spot right here where it had like a little like spot, just a little divot built into the wood that was just part of the wood. That's what's nice about working with wood, and what's terrible about working with wood is that you never know what you're getting into until you get into it. So sometimes you just can't tell what's inside. But this one's good. This one ended up turning out pretty well, and I was pretty happy with it. I love this canary wood though. Canary wood is just nice, and this one kind of has that bird look, you know, that wing look. So the canary wood goes well with it, in my opinion. And then this next one is another one of the non-conventional, and I just did one of my favorite style of handle, right, where it's just kind of like a nice smooth. I didn't do any burning, I didn't do any coloring to this wood. I just kept it all natural, just with a finish on it, just to bring out this beautiful grain on it. As you can see, it just looks so nice. But what I did do, I added one little thing, was I cut out this little flat piece right here. I just cut it flat. It used to be round, And then I found this beautiful W like logo thing with a little crown and a little thing, and I just thought it looked so awesome. So I was saving it for like a cool wand to put on, and I wanted this to be kind of like the focal point, and I wanted the wand's wood to actually pop. So I didn't want to do anything, you know, kind of like this one where there's a lot going on, where you're kind of paying attention to the wood as much as you are to the rest of the design, or maybe you're ignoring the wood a little bit just because there's so much going on. With this one, there's just so much going on just in the grain itself, so there's really no need to do anything else, to add anymore. It's just a beautiful wand, I think. I just love the wood itself, and then I just pop that little W right there. So like if your last name starts with a W or your first name starts with a W, this would be perfect for you. My name does not start with a W or have a W in it at all, so it doesn't work for me, but it just looks awesome. These next two are the first batch of sister wands that I ever made, and these are going to be going up together because, so we have twin wands, which are usually they connect in some way. They're twins. They're one of the same part type thing, right? So for these two, they're sister wands or brother wands or sibling wands. I don't know why I always say sister wands, but I guess they're just sibling wands. And what I did with them was I kind of took the same idea for both, the same style for both, and tried to not copy the same exact wand onto a different wood. They are two different types of wood, but what I did was I tried to take inspiration from one and the other and kind of put them together. So they're fairly simple designs, but they go well together. So these are the two here. So the big difference between them, obviously, is we have the main color there, but then we also have the design itself. So as you can tell, the facets run all the way up this, and then the facets stop right at the handle for this. But as you can see, they do go well together. They're almost identical in size. The lighter one is slightly longer, but they feel the same. They're I would say actually the mahogany one's a little bit heavier, but other than that, I think these go well together. So it's kind of like an ebony and ivory type of thing. And yes, you can dual wield these, or you can share them with a loved one or a brother or sister, and then have, like, you know, matching slightly different wands. I did this once before for a friend of mine's two daughters. So he requested two wands for his daughters, and I was like, oh man, maybe I should make them the same, because otherwise they may get mad because they may like one more than the other. And I was just like, nah, I can't do that. I can't break my rule of making the same wands twice. So what I did was I made two wands of the same wood, same color scheme on both of them, but two different ones. If I have a picture of it, I'll put it up right here. Those are two really, really cool wands. I think one of them kind of looks like similar to this one, if I remember correctly. But I think they liked them. They were both pretty happy, I think. I'm not sure. I actually never got to find out if they liked them or not. I know that he liked them, but these wands are going to be going up together, like I said before. So hopefully somebody picks both of these up and can display them, you know, like together, and make them look all cool, or maybe use them. Getting off topic for a second, I do plan on making a new wand review video soon. Also, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's 10 wands right there. Those are 10 new Noble Collection wands that I just picked up, that I will be making a video for those two. It may already be out, depending on when you're watching this, and hopefully you guys go and check that out and you like it, and let me know what wands I should get next. I do have another video where I did 10 wands review before from Noble Collection, so you guys can check that out. I have a bunch of, if you guys don't know, I have a bunch of wand videos on this channel. But back to the wand review. If you do want to submit your wands, send them over to newwandsday@gmail.com, and I will check them out eventually, maybe, hopefully, as long as they're good enough. I will check them out. I mean, I check them out anyway, but I may just not talk about them. But yeah. Next up, we have a what's the best way to describe this wand? Weird? This is probably the weirdest one out of all of these. It is probably the bulkiest out of all of these, but you know, as you can see, it does fit your hand pretty well. There's kind of like a spot wherever you can hold it, and the idea behind this, the concept behind this, I was kind of going for like a shell or some sort of like weird thing here. Meekachii said that it looks like a rose petal or something. I don't know if it does, but there's some silver paint in here and a little bit of black. We also have this design here on the guard and on the handle, and it runs up here a little bit, as you can see the highlights on there. So I really like this wand. I think it's a weird design, and I think somebody will definitely like it. It looks a lot. It does, as you can see, it's not that big. It just looks kind of bulky when you look at it like that, but it's really not that big. But it's definitely a nice sturdy wand. Mahogany is actually a really good wood to work with. It's a little bit harder than like some of the carving woods, but it definitely takes a good finish, which is very important. Unlike like black palm or red palm or something, that is a little bit harder to get a good finish on because it's so absorbent. It just like sucks in like any finish you put on it. Mahogany's pretty good. It picks it up pretty well, and it gets nice and as you can see, it's not super shiny. I mean, it is a little shiny here because this is like a metallic paint, but for the most part, it's nice, a nice satin medium matte, maybe a little semi-gloss. And then we have another mahogany wand. I feel like a lot of these wands were mahogany. I have a decent amount of mahogany. I recently picked up some. I think I'm running out though. I definitely need to go to the wood shop and pick up some. And so this one was on the lathe, about halfway on the lathe, and then halfway off because I wanted to get these nice little facets on here, and then I wanted to actually thin this out a bit. But as you can see, this is a nice long wand, and it's kind of a pommel heavy, even though it's still a very small pommel, but it's definitely a pommel heavy. It's definitely one of those like super long conductory wands, you know. I really like it. So what I did here was I put in all these little lines on this, but then what I did is actually sanded down some of them to kind of make them look a little bit worn. And I mean, I just didn't want it to be perfectly like this. I wanted this part of it to look a little bit more worn and give it a little bit more depth. I also did a quick little torching on it just to kind of make it pop, because otherwise it would be very bland and very just brown basically. So we did a little bit of that burning on there, as you can see. That's how we got the little lighter lines on the inside there, and then the darker. I really like this. This was a little bit inspired by the Elder Wand, right? This shape right here, where the Elder Wand kind of has this going on. I was gonna do a third one, and I was like, nope. I think two will look good because I want to keep this handle short. I want to keep the bottom of the handle short and no guard. I think that definitely makes it more of a pommel heavy. I feel like a lot. I've been experimenting with that a lot lately, where I've been trying to keep the handles a little bit shorter. But you can see like this is a more traditional handle here, where it goes all the way up, you know, to about there, to about what, almost halfway, because this is a shorter wand. But same thing with this one. These are both longer handles, and then these are both shorter handles, and then just with some flare here where the top of the handle would be. I really like these long, skinny, like fencing wands almost, right? That's what this reminds me of, like a foil, or a rapier or something. And it's just, it's cool. That's definitely, I think somebody will like this, and you know, it'll look really good on the little display, as you can see. And now this next one is another mahogany. Apparently I used a lot of mahogany these past couple wands, and that is this guy right here. I'm sure that a lot of you guys are gonna like this one. This was done by burning the inside of this, but only the inside, none of the outside, because I didn't want to get this burnt, and I didn't want to get this part right here burnt. So definitely. I think I've done one other wand that I had some cutouts like this on it, but this is one of my probably my first one that I think this looks the best. It's definitely a fragile wand. So if you pick this up, please don't throw it in your bag. It is made out of wood. This is like, it will break. I don't even want to pretend to bend it because it will break. It is wood. It is thin, as you can see here. So if you do pick this up, just be very, very careful because it is fragile. It is made out of wood. It can break and it will break. So just please. So what I did here is I actually have 2 spirals going around. So I have one flat on this side and one flat on this side. And obviously they meet in the middle, and then you cut out the center in between them to get the spiral to go around like that. Think of it as the cutting end right here going on and cutting this way, and then cutting right here. So that's what gives us the this nice little swoop right here, which I just think it looks cool. I love that little bend, and then that nice little arch in the back here. Mahogany, again, just takes a finish really, really well. Just this nice satiny semi-gloss finish on it, I think looks really, really good. This is definitely one of my favorite ones from this batch. This one, the next one, and this guy right here are probably my 3 favorites out of this batch. Now this one is the last one. This is another little weird wand design, but definitely I think this one came out really cool too. This wand wood just looks amazing. Like just look at just look at it. I'm almost speechless. Just look at the actual grain on this wood. It just looks super, super nice. And what I did here was I drilled out some little holes and inserted some copper tubing in there, and that's what these little cutouts are. And I think they look really cool, and they do go all the way through as well. But it just made it look really nice. So we have, this one's almost like, it's almost like this one when it comes out to these cutouts right here, but not quite. There are actually a lot of different facets on it, as opposed to just having the 2 swirling around on the, like this one is. This one has, so we basically have like a facet here, 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 and then we have the 2 ends that are flat as well. And then we have one big one that lays across this way, another big one that lays across in the same direction. And as you can see, it is pretty thin. So this, I would say, is another fragile one that, you know, you definitely want to be careful with. It feels really strange because it's so thin in your hand. And you can see here, almost like, where's that other one? This one right here, where the blade comes down and it thins out right at the guard. This one does the same thing, where the blade comes in and it thins. You can see how thin it is right there. It thins out and then goes into the actual handle itself. Just, that's it. Those are all the wands. So apparently this whole time I thought I had 12 wands. I only have 11 wands, which is still the most that I've ever had, I believe, to show you guys. But this latest batch I made 6, and before I had made 5. So my math was a little bit off. 5 and 6 sometimes equals 12 when you don't know how to count properly. So like I said, these wands will be going up in the shop, and for patrons, you guys have first dibs. So if you guys do want one of these, let me know as soon as possible, because basically the day that the video goes live for everybody else is going to be the last day you guys have to pick these up. Please let me know, because I don't want anybody to miss out on the wand that they want, and I don't want you guys to blame me for you not getting the wand that you wanted. So please contact me down below, and also if you want, send me a message on Patreon or on Discord, preferably on Discord. And if you guys want to join the Patreon, there's a link down below, and there's usually a link at the end of the video as well, and the end screen. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to submit wands to newwandsday@gmail.com, feel free. It's right here, and then I'll check out those wands on there. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. And if you guys stay tuned this long, leave a comment down below with the word I'm looking right now. I'm looking around. The word red in the comments, in the sentence, in the comment. Put the word red in it, and we'll see. Red, the color. No, either red, doesn't matter. Whatever red you'd like. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching, and bye.